Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 1. This week we got to see Fear the Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 2. So close, yet so far. So I'm pretty happy with the second episode. It was much like the first episode. We're just getting to see the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse. So we're not in a zombie apocalypse right now. We're seeing a few zombies. That's what this is, the start. Just a few zombies. Of course, with the original Walking Dead, we kicked off right at the zombie apocalypse. When Rick wakes up, it's full-on zombie apocalypse. There's a few survivors here and there around, but the majority of the population is Z's, or zombies, or walkers. So in this one, it seems like right now, I would say probably only a few percent are actually turned, with a few more percent of the population being sick from being bitten. We've seen some cops that have bites. We've seen other characters, of course, Matt being bitten. I called that shit. I so called that shit. It wasn't that hard to call. People were like, congratulations, Trevor. One of your predictions was right. You jerk off. That's just the kind of shit I read in comments every day. People are so negative on the internet, man. It's unbelievable. Anyway, okay. So we got Matt. He's, he's hurt. He's dying basically, and pretty sad scene there. And I really like what they did in this episode with just the concentration on the little things, in a zombie apocalypse that we're not used to seeing. Usually you see a movie like, let's say, Dawn of the Dead or something with the fast zombies, and you just got all this action and craziness, zombies running all over the place, which makes sense for a movie because they only have so much time. But with a TV series like this, we're going to be getting a lot of episodes next season. It's 15 episodes, season 2. And with the show's ratings so far, unless it tanks, we'll be getting a lot more probably a lot more seasons after the first two, most likely, as long as it's successful, which I think it will be, because it has been, right off the bat. So we'll see what this week's ratings are. If they drop from 10 million to 7 or something, that's kind of what I'm expecting. Lower than that, if it goes to 5 or 4, it's like maybe we have to worry. But right now, I think it's off to a good start. So we see Matt; he's hurt. We've got Alycia, the scene with her at the beginning, and you just got some really good concentration on certain little parts that we're not used to seeing, and kind of felt new to me. The ending of this episode was really good, especially when you have the neighbor there who they're like having a party, they're trying to have fun, they're trying to stay positive, and that's great, but they're ignoring the reality of the situation. Someone's birthday, okay, great, good for them, but you got to survive first before you can work towards trying to get to the higher levels of happiness and try to celebrate and stuff like that. You don't want to celebrate too much in the zombie apocalypse, or at the start of one anyway. And the scene at the end where you have the neighbor and then another neighbor guy that comes across, and he's zombie, and he attacks her, was really thrilling to watch, because it's like there's really nobody there. Nick is hurt, right? Then you've got them two, which they probably could go out, but they don't have a weapon handy. It's not like they have an axe or something ready to go, or something like that. They're not really at that stage yet. So they just lock the door and they let her get eaten alive, basically, by this male zombie. Brutal, man. But also, too, and this is something people don't realize, a lot of viewers, most of you who subscribe to the channel have heard me talk about this before, but fresh turn walkers, zombies that are fresh, like they've just died, they've just turned, are much harder to deal with than zombies 2 or 3 years down the road, which would be like, or even maybe 2 years, season 6 of The Walking Dead. A lot more decayed, a lot more easier to deal with than zombies that are just freshly turned, that have their full-on muscle tissue, everything like that, Milton style, with Andrea. Even no matter how many walkers she killed on her own, just a fresh turned zombie is full musculature, ready to go, not going to hold back, will put itself in harm's way in order to attack. So they're pretty gnarly, they're pretty vicious, man. And I really like the feel of that final scene where they had cool music and that really cool thrilling feel to it, and really nothing they could do but just lock the door, because you get that feeling like you want to go help. You want them to go help this person, this helpless female, and it's like, oh man, shit. Shit. Shit's real, man. It felt like almost like a murder. Like you watch something, you see like a murder or something. It's like, oh man, it's just it's pretty dark. So that was really good. The ending was great. I loved all the kind of riot scenes in this episode, which we've seen. We saw some clips earlier on of them filming that. There was pictures online, stuff like that of that, and to finally get to see it play out on the streets, which felt like a very suburban, downtown, or not suburban, but very very heavy, concentrated spot, like a downtown type area of the city where you have shops, a lot of shops all the way down, and then you have people like just mass population, a lot of people in a tight area in a zombie apocalypse. Is really cool to see that. And you just have police in the riot gear coming up and kind of marching in, the foot soldiers marching in, so to speak, and you've got this bum who was a zombie who they had to shoot, other people not understanding what's happening and getting mad at them, and this whole riot breaks out and shit. Oh man, it's pretty crazy. I like the way they shot that. I like the way they gave us kind of some looks of it, and just all the angles and everything was really cool. And then of course Travis and the rest of his small group, the rest of his other family, Chris and Liza, getting inside that shop with the other those other people, and riding out the storm, so to speak, until everybody burns themselves out, except for the zombies, of course, because they really don't run out of energy. Not really, even though they can kind of be stunned, like when Maddie, and she hits Artie, the principal, on the head with the fire extinguisher. And she's all upset about it after. It's like, well, he was your boss, right? You killed your boss. It's like, how many people wanted to kill their boss? I don't know. Anyway, but it was a pretty decent scene, when she's whacking him. They didn't really show his head or anything, but again, the tissue, the skull in that, it's not like a decayed zombie. You just smash it, boom, it smashes. Like a real human being, you're going and going, but the skull is hard, man. It's not that easy to just crush it, even if it's just one of them. So imagine like a few of them together. You can see why it would spread and be really hard for them to stop it from spreading and people to defend themselves. The police, military, sure, they have firearms and all that, but to people who don't, it's going to be pretty tough, especially if there's a few of them. So. Oh man, I like those parts of the episode quite a bit. I like the scene with Tobias getting his knife back. That was fun. The Artie scene, and that was pretty exciting. And Tobias, they split. They split for now. I'm interested to see, is he going to come back in the show? Or are they going to find some way to work him back in? Because he's one of my favorite characters right off the bat. He's basically Eugene, pretty much. Or he's got a lot of similarities to Eugene, where he's a thinker. He's not much of a fighter, and like he stabs him like here a couple times, like in the chest. And it just doesn't really have any effect. So man, that was cool. I did like that scene. Again, with this week's episode, I can hear it already. The comments are going to come. No question about it that some people are going to be disappointed with the episode because it was a bit slower paced. So what I'll do is I'll save that for its own video. This week we'll do a video talking about the pacing of Fear the Walking Dead, because it is quite a bit slower than what we're used to, I think, in terms of maybe the original Walking Dead. At least the first season of the original Walking Dead was pretty fast paced compared to this, and pretty kind of over the top, big, lots of zombies, street view and all kinds of tanks and crazy stuff. So they went pretty big for the first season of the original. This one, they're not going so big. They're showing us some things, but it's not crazy right off the bat. So, but we'll see how that goes. So to go over the episode, in terms of a score, I would give this one probably a 7.8 is where I would rate it. So good type range, almost great, not quite great yet, and not amazing, not fantastic. I think that's pretty much all I want to say for it. I mean, we could go scene by scene. But, yeah, I don't know. It was an intense episode. It was good. I liked, most of it. You got Nick, who's having some withdrawals, that kind of stuff. And it does set it up to be, to be a pretty good season to start with. But it is pretty slow. So it looks like by the end of the season, what we were talking about with predictions is they'll probably find at the end of the season that they're starting to head out of the city, unless they get trapped. But I was thinking in this episode, like as I saw the school, I was like, wow, man, that place is a gold mine. That place would be an awesome spot to just set up camp. Just forget about getting out. Just go to the school, lock down the whole place, because it's an environment they know, they're familiar with it. It's got tons of stuff there. You got all this food and all this kind of stuff. Man, that place is just a gold mine for a zombie apocalypse. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if maybe they give up on their, their idea, Travis's idea of getting out to the desert, getting away from the city, and maybe just hunker down, lock the place up, and set up shop, so to speak. So we'll see. But they're still kind of figuring out too what's happening. Many people are not in the know. Many people have no idea. They don't know what zombies are in this Walking Dead world yet. So they're gonna find out. They're finding out pretty soon. So there's my review for this episode. I did like the episode, was not disappointed with it, but it was a little bit slower than what I would like. I'd like to see a little bit faster paced and then to cover more ground, since we only have 6 episodes. But again, we'll save that. We'll talk about that in the pacing video. But I have still enjoyed it quite a bit, and I found it to be a really thrilling episode. So write your comments below on what you guys thought about it. Were you disappointed? Were you happy with it? And the pacing, again, we'll talk about it. And if you like the video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share, please favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, be sure to subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this week's review, guys. We'll see you again next week for episode 3, and of course the predictions video for what I think is going to happen next week will be posted later tonight, most likely. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace. See you guys. Yeah.